Good afternoon. Hi, it's Linda Jordan with LRJ Coaching and Business Solutions. Hope you're having a great day. And thank you for those that are joining me. So, we'll give a few more minutes for people to come in. But I have a very exciting guest today. So, get ready, get your pen and pad, get ready to take some notes because she's got some good drops for you, good tidbits. So, just as a reminder, join me tonight at 7 p.m. for a webinar. It's called Becoming a Person of Influence. Starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So, with that, let me introduce my guests. I have the privilege of sharing with you Miss Dee Bowden, who is the creator of the book called Collect the Cash. And so, Collect the Cash is to teach small businesses how to solve cash flow problems. Now, how many of you are small business owners? We all need to figure out how to solve cash flow problems. So she's recovered over $7.5 million, $7.5 million from a large government agency. And she was recognized by small businesses also that small businesses small prey to revenue loss because they don't collect the outstanding invoices. So, I mean, how many of us get caught up in that as small business owners? So she's the author of Collect the Cash. The sale is not complete until the money is in the bank. Dee has been featured in Yahoo Finance, VIP Global, Forbes, and Black Enterprise magazines. Now, that's just to name a few, and I'm sure she's probably going to be someplace else pretty soon. But without further ado, I bring to you the fabulous Dee Bowden. Thank you so much for joining me.
Dr. Linda. Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. So let me do a course correction. My last name is Bowden. I know
Oh,
in the
sorry,
South. No, 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 no,
Bowden.
no. It's fine. Listen, in the South, it's Bowden. I'm from the North, so it's Bowden. But it's all good. It's all good. It is all good. First of all, thank you very much for that warm introduction about me and doing all things collect the cash. Most people are like, collect the cash. What? And the LL Cool J is that? Well, listen. Let me tell you a little bit about collect the cash. So I like to get started with something funny. Um, Once upon a time in a land far, far away called Boston, where I'm from. See, this is what me and Linda do. This is what we do. She was like, "You are hilarious." I'm like, "Listen, you get it, you get it." So listen. So seriously, I'm originally from Boston. So let me do it proper for
Okay.
our official people. So I'm originally from Boston. I live in the great state of Maryland. Fun facts about me: I love Ferris wheels, smooth jazz, hot air balloon rides, and
Oh.
I those are my things. And people are like, "What does a smooth jazz, hot air balloons, Ferris wheels? Oh, and great wine. My gosh, that was the most important part of the whole list
Can't
was the
forget
wine.
the
I forgot that
wine.
part. Listen, never mind all the other stuff. Listen, you got some good wine. We great.
Miss Bowden.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Dr. Linda. Yes. Listen, let me sit up straight in my chair. Yes, Dr. Linda.
So, Dee, tell our audience, how you got started and, what made you decide to write the book?
That's a great question. So, seriously, about 15 years ago, so the way I answer that question, I tell a story. So, about 15 years ago, I used to work I worked for a small IT company outside of Boston where I'm from. You know how it is when you get hired. Welcome aboard. Here's your cubicle. Here's that little box and that little plant they
Right?
give you. They welcome you aboard. You're like, come on and meet the people, meet the team, yada yada. So I'm a part-time collector. I work Monday through Friday, 4 to 8. They said, listen, we've got $8 million in outstanding receivables, aka invoices that have not been paid. Because for the people who are like, what's accounts receivable? It's invoices that ain't been paid. That part. I'm like, are you serious? I thought it was a joke. They were like, no, we're for real. We built we
Not been
they were
paid.
they
That's
were
a lot
I
of money.
they were an IT company, so they sold software licenses, computers, all the things to lots of companies, corporations, government agencies, and the like. They're like, yeah, we got $8 million that we haven't been able to get paid. Now listen, they also had a collections team. So I'm a part-time person. I work Monday through Friday, 4 to 8. And they're like, okay, we're gonna test you. You said
Mhm.
your resume says you can collect, or we're gonna test you. Let me see what you can do. Here's $8 million. Get to work. Now, as you see above my head, it says Ephesians 3:20. So I'm a believer.
Yes.
So I took my list and I went to God. Me and God had a conversation. Me and God talked like this. Hey, God. Yes, D. How are you? You know what, God? Overall, I am fantastic. but I got an $8 million problem, and your word says you have not because you ask not. If anybody's lacking wisdom, you said come ask you. So I'm bringing my $8 million problem to you, and I need a clue. So I got quiet, and what came up for me was that in order to solve this problem, it's business to business collections, which is three things. It's problem solving, answering the question of what had happened was, why didn't I pay the money?
That's my favorite.
It's true. It's true. What happened was, what happened that y'all didn't pay? You know, on the proper side would be, well, what happened? Listen, girl, what had happened was, what? Either way,
Yeah.
what had happened was, that's one. Number two, you have to express or offer customer service, and then the third thing is gratitude. Above my head it says Ephesians 3:20 and gratitude. Gratitude for people who are like, that's a fancy word. Gratitude is simply thank you. Right. Thank you for taking my phone call. Thank you for helping me find my invoice in the system. Thank you for the most important part is cutting that check. So back to the story. Back to the story of what had happened was. So talk to God. I get my clue. I get to work. So I recover $6 million after talking to God. I get $6 million collected in 60 days while working part-time. Now, everybody's like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And it is. Here's where all of this leads to collected cash. On October 24th to 5th, back in the 2000s, the CEO says, listen, we need to have a chat. I'm thinking because we done collected all this money, we're about to get a bonus. Because especially if you've been in sales, if you meet your quota, you get a bonus. Right. Well, in accounts receivable, if you collect your money, you get a bonus. So I'm thinking we're about to get a bonus. No. Come downstairs. He says, listen, I want to thank all y'all across sales, contracts, order entry, order fulfillment, payables, billing, and collections. My team. Thank all y'all for what you did. We've made an executive decision. We're closing the company. You got 30 minutes to go get that same box and box you came all up in here and leave the building. This is 2 months before Christmas. Small company, 100 people lose. The company gets shut down after they get all the money. They drop all of us. 100 people, including me, loses my job 2 months before Christmas. Now, I did say I'm a believer, but I had some choice words in which I'm not going to repeat today. But I'm just saying, I had some feelings around this situation.
I'm sure you did.
Listen, me and Jesus had a long talk because I was like, okay, really? But I learned that what God was doing, what God did with that experience was how, fast forward 15 years later, I was able last year during COVID to write Collect the Cash, is because someone asked me, what do you do? So I share this story, and they're like, you can teach business owners how to win.
Yeah.
Like, you have a system, Dee. Teach us how to win. Teach us how to not make a fool of ourselves, how to answer these questions. What do we do when people don't pay us? How do we not, resort back to our hood ways and some other ways of dealing to things? Like, right. you can't do it. And I'm like, no, not for the kind of money I've collected. No, you can't do that. You gotta learn how to talk to people and negotiate and problem solve. And so problem solving, customer service, and gratitude is like this. If you've ever ordered sneakers, let's just do sneakers as an example. If you've ever ordered sneakers or anything from Amazon or whoever,
I just did that yesterday.
Say it again.
I just did that yesterday.
Perfect. So you are a perfect example for this. So when you placed your order, or let's say, for example, you ordered 10 sets of sneakers. Just using that example. So the problem comes in that is for how Collect the Cash exists. You order 10 sets of sneakers. Your box comes to you and you look up, you're like, I ordered 10, I only got 8. First thing, what happened? Or what had happened was, because right there, you said I ordered 10 and I paid for 10, but I only got 8. That's a problem. That's the first thing. Customer service is you're dialing 1-800 find my sneakers. Hi, this is Dr. Linda, and my account number is, and you running down the whole thing, and they're like, Mrs. Jordan, oh, your account number is such and such. First, they're doing the confirmation. This is Mrs. Jordan. Your date of birth is this. Your account number is this. Your mother's maiden name is this. Yada yada. All of that. And then they're like, well, please tell us what's wrong. Well, I ordered 10 sets of sneakers, and I only got 8. Well, hold on. And they type it in the computer, pull it up. You're like, well, I see that you ordered 10 sneakers. I see that whoever boxed up only 8, but there are no notes. in the system about why you didn't get 10 sneakers. So as a customer, you're expecting this company to say, Miss Jordan, we apologize for the inconvenience, and we're going to find out what had happened was, why didn't you get 10 sets of sneakers, or why wasn't there a note to explain that 2 sneakers are on back order, something. You're expecting when something doesn't go wrong or go well, excuse me, that customer service is going to resolve this because you paid for 10 sets of sneakers.
Right.
You expected 10 sets of sneakers. I only got 8. Now I got to take time out of my day to call you to find out where's my sneakers. Well, in business, when you provide a product or a service to a client or a customer, and there's a problem with the payment, the first thing you have to do is, hi, this is so-and-so, and I'm asking the person in accounts payable, person who cuts the check. Okay, get on the phone. We didn't receive your invoice. That's funny. I sent it to email Snoopy at da 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 da. Oh, it wasn't Snoopy. It was Woodstock. Really? Really? You serious, y'all? When did y'all switch it from Snoopy to Woodstock?
No.
Oh, we didn't tell y'all. No, that part.
Right.
Customer service. So you, in order for you to get your money for the work you did, you have to now start problem solving. Okay, so I went to Snoopy. Now we're supposed to go to Woodstock. Okay, well, can you do me a favor? Can you send me that in an email so I effectively we fix this so that we don't keep sending it to Snoopy when it needs to go to Woodstock? That's first thing. Customer service is solving, back to the sneakers. You're expecting them to answer the question of, where are my 2 sets of sneakers and when am I getting them? Or am I getting a credit? Or are you going to give me 4 sneakers because you have inconvenienced me, especially after I'm paid for my sneakers? Gratitude is, thank you for at least acknowledging that a mistake was made and then working to solve it. The reason we love the places that we go to that provide excellent customer service is because they create a whole experience when they welcome you into the store, into the hotel, whatever it is. And they're always going above and beyond to make sure that things go well. And they thank you for that. So for example, in the case of providing a service and you haven't gotten paid, you have to solve the problem. What happened? You have to do customer service, because if there's something that you did that they're not happy with, until they tell you, you won't know. So it's your job to go investigate and find out what had happened was. And I'm serious. Y'all laugh, but it's the truth. I'm telling you. And then the thank you part is, first of all, you thank them for telling you what was wrong so that you can fix it. Because it could have been a data entry error. Something could have got shipped to the wrong email. Right. You might have missed when you were supposed to submit your report. You forgot to put it on pink paper and send it in on Thursday at 2:00. You put it on yellow paper, send it on Friday at 1:00. You wonder why you ain't got paid. It's all the details.
Right.
The thank you part is the thank you for getting the information you need so you can course correct. And then number 2, once you get the course correction or the mistake fixed, when they cut the check, listen, that part right there, that part, when they cut the check and you're like, yes, thank you, that part, and then you get it. And it's no different than during the holiday season. If you have clients or you've worked with companies, when they send you that holiday card, greeting, happy holidays to the Jordan family. On behalf of such and such company, we want to thank you for being our customer. We appreciate your services. We wish you the best holiday season. We look forward to serving you in 2022. What are they doing? Customer service, gratitude, because they realize you have a choice where you're going to spend your dollars.
That's right.
They want to build that relationship with you so that you will go, you know what? Oh, they were fabulous to me all year. I'm not going nowhere. I like how they treat me. I get warm cookies, or I get lollipops, or whatever it is they do.
Right.
I have to make it funny because people are like, oh my gosh. But the point is, we all can relate to things like that. So if you go to, I think it's a DoubleTree hotel, they greet you with warm
cookies. Yes.
That's their customer service. They create an experience that because most of us who love warm, it takes us back to our childhood, unless you had things. But the point is, usually you feel like, oh man, a warm chocolate chip cookie. You could be good grown, all adult, and you're like, man, let me get a chocolate chip cookie, baby. Listen. So let me get this thing. And you get all giddy and goofy, and they're like, what's wrong with you? I just had a chocolate chip cookie. You're like, are you serious? Yeah. But it does something for you. But it's not the cookie, it's the experience.
Right. It's a great experience.
Yeah.
So why do you think companies don't do more Number one, around customer service, but number two, around collecting the cash.
Oh, it's easy. That's easy. Number one, the reason they don't do a lot around collecting cash is because they are afraid that if they go ask, say for example, let's say you and I had a contract, and you provided a service to me, or I provided a service to you, and I have to now ask you for my payment, and I'm like, ooh, Dr. Linda is Dr. Linda. This ain't just Linda. This is Dr. Linda. I'd be like, oh Lord, I got to sit up in my chair and look all intelligent, be like, Dr. Linda, I have to ask you about my payment. And I'm joking about it, but it's the reason I try to make it funny because I know this is a serious matter. The reason they don't like to do it is because, number one, most people don't like to talk about money. Money makes people very, very stressful, whether personal or in business. Number two,
and uncomfortable.
And having to go ask a client that you provided work for to pay you feels embarrassing, because you're like, we signed a contract. I gave you the sneakers. I expected you to pay me for the sneakers. End of discussion. Why do I have to go ask you for my money? And a lot of us have not been taught how to do this without coming across aggressive or adversarial. And then that relationship. I mean, because if let's say you were my first customer, I worked really hard to do this great sales presentation. My PowerPoint was popping, and you like, now I got to ask you for money too? Seriously? Mm-hmm. No, I don't want to do that part. I don't want to do that part. But that's because they don't know what I say, which is collect the cash. The sale is actually not complete until the money's in the bank. Mm-hmm. And you have to, as a business owner, it's your responsibility to make sure that the sales process goes all the way through. Best example of that is a cell phone. All right, bring your phone. You got your phone. Okay, you got your phone. All right, there you go. Now, when whoever you are on, team iPhone or Android, you have the same experience. Here's the sales process, or including collecting the cash. When you walked into the store, good afternoon, Dr. Linda. Welcome to whatever store. Hey, can I get your driver's license so I can scan you in and confirm that you are who you say you are? You're eligible for an upgrade. They're already selling you before you even figure out that I need a new phone. What?
Yep. And I'm already getting new.
There you go, right? Because you're like, I get a new. I'm eligible. Wait a minute, I'm eligible for a new phone. What? Wait a minute, hold up. So there we go. So the sale process already started. They confirm who you are. Then they tell you you're eligible for an upgrade. So that's the sales part. Before you even walk around the store one time, they're asking you, well, are you team iPhone or Android? Well, I'm Android and I'm Samsung, whatever number it is today. I think it's 20 or 21 or whatever. It might be 25 by the time we finish this live. Anyway, so they're like, well, you're eligible for an upgrade. Okay, well, would you like the phone? Would you like the case? Would you like the protective cover? Would you like the watch that goes with it? Would you like the automatic charger? The sale thing is just happening. Before you know it, you're like, I just came in to ask one question. Next thing I know, the sales process is happening. I done said yes. Now, can we start a new contract? Yes, we can. Okay, great. So then I started sales. Then they did a contract. Order fulfillment happened was when you picked out your phone. On the back of the box, there's a barcode. They scan that in, and it's already going into the system. So they've already done the sale, the contract, order entry, order fulfillment. Then they're going to set up your billing. Dr. Linda, when would you like your invoice to be? What date would you like your invoice come to you? Am I lying? Am I right?
You're right on point.
I'm telling you that. Listen, this is a great teaching example for businesses, because this is what happens. So you tell them, oh, you know what? Just as an example, I'd like my invoice to be dated for the 27th of every month. Okay, great. We're going to put that in there. Your bill is due on the 27th of the month. Next thing I know, so they've done sale, then they sold you the phone. You already have a contract, order fulfillment. They done invoiced you. You ain't even left the store yet. Your invoice is already queued up for the next month. Then there's accounts receivable, which is you. You already said, I'm gonna agree to these terms. You already signed the contract, either physically or digitally with that little pen. Yeah. And then you go out the door. Actually, I'm sorry. Before that, they ask you, would you like to trade your phone in?
Right.
Trade your phone in. So you do that part. Then once they trade it, they'll determine the condition of your phone, whether it's worth X amount of dollars. Now you put that as a credit. The next thing you know, you get your new phone, the box. And here's the thing: once you make that first, so you might have to pay the difference between what's the balance on the phone to the new phone. Then you don't get to leave until it says these words: transaction approved.
Yep, you're right.
That's the sales process. Now, everybody who's listening is like, that was a lot. I use the cell phone because everybody can understand that, because everybody who has a cell phone has gone through that entire process.
Right.
And here's the thing: if you keep using their phone and don't pay for it, they got this magic button that will disconnect your service. That part.
In the blink of an eye.
You're like, what's wrong with my phone? What's wrong with my phone? Nothing's wrong with your phone. You didn't pay your bill. That part. Right. No, but the reason that I wrote Collect the Cash is because personally worked for a company that went out of business. I watched last year companies. Here's a perfect example of this. Well, along with what I just showed you, because that's the sale process of what happens in business, and you don't get to leave the store unless you and the transaction approved is, well, actually, it's either cash or credit, but you don't get to leave the store until you get that on your receipt, because that shows that the money, the sale was complete, the money's in the bank, and you get to leave the store. Right. Now, why Collect the Cash was created? Last year was COVID. COVID wreaked havoc on a lot of businesses. Here's something that most people don't even understand. When Broadway, Times Square, all of Broadway, which is a multi-million-dollar business, shut down, I looked at all the small businesses that had contracts with the theaters to sell the t-shirts, to sell the mugs, to sell the tchotchkes, whatever. They had contracts with those theaters and had plans to sell those things, because the plays were supposed to happen. They were supposed to do their thing. All of that shut down. All the people that kept losing money because they already had a contract. They had ordered that, they had provided the sales. The sales weren't complete because there was no money in the bank, because they didn't get to sell their things. And I kept seeing my story replayed on the
over and
over again. And I was like, I gotta. And my book coach said, D, you have to tell this story, and you have to teach us how to track our accounts and get comfortable with this piece of business and learn how to not just sell but also get paid and what to do. And when I saw Broadway, I'm like, I kept thinking about all the companies. I'm like, wow, that's a lot. I mean, I love the theater. I love the theater. So I mean, it was from a person who loves the theater and jazz. The two things that I love doing, getting it to do, because it wasn't just the fact that those are my things are fun. I'm looking at the small businesses that finally got that contract to sell their whatever, and they were expecting to bank this money, and they couldn't. And that means no, they couldn't collect. They had no sales and no cash was in the bank, and the devastation. So I decided to write the book, because if we go through something like that again, I want business owners to get ahead of the game. And if you're starting to see that people owe you money, if it's 30 days past due, don't let it slide into 60 days past due. You need to be getting on the phone. You need to be doing the phone call. You need to be resubmitting an invoice. You need to do the problem solving. You need to be on the front end of customer service, and you need to be doing the gratitude so that you can get your payments, so that you can stay in business and have your cash flow and not be strapped like people were last year. That's why Collect the Cash exists.
Right. Well, that's awesome. I mean, I've learned a lot, but I love the way you told the story with the cell phone, because like you said, everybody can relate to it. And then, oddly enough, yesterday I was on the phone for an hour with the customer service because I'm trying to collect my cash. With the mortgage, they took too much from escrow, but they never called to tell me. I just look at my statement. An hour. And, by the time of that, I just laid them all out. But, but it's amazing. So what do you tell the listeners who are listening, the small business owners who are struggling with that ability or that courage to collect the cash? Because like you said, it's people don't like talking about that money stuff. What's the message that you want to share with them?
Number one, when you went into business, you already took the first step of courage. Because not everybody who wants to start a business starts one.
Right.
You took the first step, which was to start it. Number two, when you went into business, you said, I'm going into business to solve a problem. So in order to solve a problem, you got to sell something, and then you got to get paid. And If that's not your strong suit, then you need to find somebody who's better at it than you, who can come along and teach you how to do this. Because eventually, until you get to the point where you can hire people, you do have to get comfortable with this. You have to get comfortable with sales, even though you may not like to sell, but you got to learn how to sell, and you have to learn how to collect. Those two things, they go together. So you may have to take a class. You may have to go take a class. You may have to take one of those actually a speaking class is really good for that, because you have to learn how to speak, how to express your concerns without sounding angry or frustrated. You're really trying to get to the heart of the problem. So if you're not good at that, you might, and you can go to YouTube and learn, okay, how to collect the cash. And there are classes. I teach people how to do that all the time, because you have to get good with this. Now, excuse me. Obviously, if everything you do is automated, meaning you're like, Dee, I don't have to get on the phone. Everything is automated. Okay. Well, in the one instance that the credit card doesn't go through, you can't solve everything with 144 characters.
No.
If the person's credit card doesn't go through, your payment doesn't go through, you have to be able to get on the phone and ask them, hey, Dr. Linda, I was processing your payment and I noticed your credit card, didn't go through. Now, there's a way to do that without embarrassing them. Girl, what you mean your card didn't go through? Listen, because people be trying to do the most. It's like,
right.
you're like,
you gotta say
it's like, hi, I was processing your payment for, our agreed payment for this month. I noticed your card didn't go through. Most time people are like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. There's one part, there's that part. Or if they run into a problem, the best thing you can do is give them grace and just ask them, is everything okay? You give them a chance to say, oh, let me switch cards. That's number one. Number two, you might end up saying, you know what? I know my payment was due this day. And there are times when you may just have to own up and say, you know what? I don't have all the money right now. Or three, I need you to give me grace. Let me make a payment on that card.
Right.
And then let the payment go through, and then I can pay you. What part of this is that you have to get good with talking with people, and you have to be able to explain situations, because I believe that most people are very reasonable. There, of course, now there are exceptions to every rule. There's some people who don't want to hear the story. Yep. And they don't care. Yep. All right. That. Listen. The first time you start, I get that. I'm talking to the people who if you run into something, you can get on the phone and have a conversation, explain the situation, and make sure you document that. Okay, yes, we had a payment due on this date. I wasn't able to fix it. I contacted the person to say, okay, we can't do this, but this is what we can do. Most people will accept a partial payment, knowing that the money will follow over time, versus just being ghosted, where you didn't call them, you didn't say nothing, and you didn't take any responsibility. That's not how you do business, because I joke about it all the time. These social media streets are easy to do a quick, just like we're here live. It takes somebody. Here's something that people don't understand. Your brand is your reputation.
Oh yeah.
And I joke about it all the time. It takes somebody 30 seconds or less, as soon as they hit that button that says live. I just talked to such and such, and they just run down everything that went wrong, and they hit live, and it's out there. You are into having to do damage control, right, because of something that could have been fixed with a phone call. And when I say fixed, please understand this. There are times when everything in business does not go well. Because it doesn't. Because I know, because right now you've got people that think if they do the I dream a genie moment, everything in business is done. Nope. It's not.
No.
It's so not. And the misconception is that if you're a small business owner, if I just do the I dream a genie, or I just hit the microwave, or I just post and everything magically happens like the cereal. No, boo. No, it doesn't. No, oh my gosh. It's like that part. It's like, because I think people are being sold this bag of dreams, and they don't understand you have to work for this. The people that we admire have been doing their product or their service for a long time. They have been in the lab, they've been making soap, they've been making hair, whatever they do, they've been at it for a while. When they get the notoriety that we're celebrating, that's because they've been doing this for a long time, and they have perfected their process. And they've had enough people go, oh my gosh, that's so good. That's so good. That and keep going. And they've made mistakes. Because the thing is, if you look on these social media streets today, it looks like everything is glamorous. It's like, oh
It
my God,
does.
does I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I mean, I people are like, who is I somebody asked me the other day, who's I Dream of Jeannie? I said, oh my gosh, okay, I'm dating myself.
Let's not even go there.
I had them laughing. I said, I Dream of Jeannie had a weave before weaves were popular.
It sure did.
But the point is, when I say that, I'm talking about everything is magical. They think that
Magical.
you just snap your fingers, and it's just that there is no work, there's no process, there's no systems, there's no learning things, there's no learning curve that you just do this. So, for example, writing my book, I've gone to school, got a couple of degrees. I'm grateful for having had done that. I got books behind me. I didn't know how to write a book. Guess what I had to do? I had to go take a class.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to humble myself under my book coach and say, teach me how to do this. Now, I'm great at recovering money, solving problems. I can deal with government agencies and corporations on all that. That's my thing. Writing a book? No. And here's the thing, even though I've gone to school and have a couple of degrees and did a master's thesis and the whole nine, excuse
Yeah.
me, doing the thesis was not the same thing as writing this book,
It
because
sure
I
isn't.
tell a story and be vulnerable and open up parts of me and tell stuff. No, I'm not doing that. She's like, you gotta tell me, like, no, I'm not doing that part.
But you have to. You have to be vulnerable.
Exactly. And then here's the thing. When you write a book, when you start to do business, you have to grow into it. And I think that's the piece that most business owners aren't told. You have to understand this is a journey. You grow into it. The person you get to see today, when Dr. Linda was reading off all of my accolades, I have not been that. I've not always been that person. I had to grow into those things,
Mm-hmm.
and had to, step out and tell this story, and then find ways to make it relatable. Because I used to tell a story. I was very formal, buttoned up, and they're like, "Good gosh, this ain't gonna work." But the daggone, I'm like, stop clowning and bring some humor into this. Well, I had to learn how to do that because I deal with money. People that I've always dealt with money were very serious and buttoned up and stiff. They're like, no, you can be funny. You can bring you to the story, and you are still credentialed and still all the things. But you can also have a personality and have fun. So when I discovered the what had happened was part, I was like, oh, I'm bringing that part because everybody in business and in life has one of those what had happened was story. You know it from when you don't get paid for something, when something goes wrong on the job. You take your car in for an oil change. Boyfriend puts it up on the lift. You're like, I thought I was gonna oil change. He's like, oh no, your brake pads and new tires and something else. You're like,
$1,000 later.
$1,000 later. What had happened was my budget said $50. You come $955 later. What? That part. but these are all the things that are a part of it. And I think I try to bring how to teach business owners how to collect their cash, track their payments, and do well in a funny way, so that you won't be so scared to ask for the payments when you need to. You have to build confidence, just like you had to build confidence to ask for the sale. You have to build the same confidence to ask for the money. And there's an art and science to doing this without messing up relationships. Now, please understand, all of this is generally speaking. There's exceptions to everything. Have I had customers that have been more than challenging? Listen, you see all this gray hair? Yeah, trust me. Yes. And have I had some that were easy to work with? Absolutely. And have had some in the middle. I've had the Goldilocks experience. Some have been too hard, some have been too soft, some have been just right. All that. And then I've had some. It's like, man, listen.
What had happened was.
Yeah, I've had that too. Okay, I'll give you a perfect what had happened was story. So, I used to support a government agency, and I was reconciling their books, and I was closing out a contract. Closing out a contract is collect the cash at the government level. So I come up with my numbers. I reach out to the vendor, and I tell them my numbers, and they come back. They said, "No, Dee, you're $9,000 short." What? How? Oh, well, we reconciled our numbers, which means we looked at our books, and then we're like, oh, we figured out we were overpaid, and we need to return this money back to the government. Really? When did you do that? Oh, last year. Who'd you make the check out to? Oh, the Department of Treasury. Okay. Do you have a copy of that? Sure. And the paperwork that goes with it. I get the information from them, and I said, oh, now I know why I'm $9,000 short. You know when you write a check, it says memo?
Yeah.
Wrong contract number.
Oh.
True story. Wrong contract number. So $9,000 is sitting in a suspense account with the Department of Treasury, and I don't know when it's going to get returned back to my agency and put back on my contract so that money can be put there. But that happens more often than not because people don't pay attention to details. When I was talking earlier about data entry errors and all the things, these are all the things that happen. And whether it's data entry, whether it's it's order fulfillment. You order 10 sets of sneakers, you only get 8. Somebody wasn't paying attention. They were on their phone. They were TikToking, whatever they were doing. They weren't paying attention. All the things, all of these things, these all seem like little things, but in business, your money is in attention to detail, and it's also the fortune is always in the follow-up. And if you don't get good with following up, your cash flow is going to be impacted.
Yeah, that is a true statement because I do real estate, and it's follow up because you may not buy the house the first time, but 2 years later you follow up, they're ready to sell. And a lot of people don't want to do the follow-up piece. So I'm glad you brought that up. That is so critical. Wow. Awesome. That is just, I could talk to you for hours. So as we get close to a close, what are some final words that you'd like to share with the audience around Collect the Cash? And then explain, how do they get in contact with you? I put your information in the chat, but I'd love for you to share that.
All right. Well, first of all, let me tell you, thank you. This has been an absolute joy. I love hanging out with you and talking as well. We can talk for hours. It's fun. It's fun.
Too.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. So, final tips. Collect the Cash is 3 things. It's problem solving, it's customer service, and it's gratitude. When you learn how to solve the problem of why you didn't get paid, which is asking the right questions, what happened? Is there something that needs to be addressed? There's that part. Customer service is you making sure that you've done everything you need to do for your client, so they're happy and that they will cut that check or swipe that credit card. Gratitude is saying thank you for you being my customer, number 1, but also number 2, for giving me the chance to fix something that was wrong, number 1. And number 2, thank you for cutting that check. That part, saying that part. And then let me go ahead and do the shameless plug. Let me show y'all. This is the book we're talking about. This is Collect the Cash. Collect the Cash. The sale is not complete until the money's actually in the bank. Right. And so where you can get if you want an autograph copy from me, you go to www.collectthecash.biz/book. That's www.collectthecash.biz/book. It's also available on Amazon and Barnes & Nobles and Books A Million. But a side copy for me is www.collectthecash.biz/book. And of course, I'm on all social media. So I'm Dee Bowden on Facebook, Instagram, I'm at DCollect, and LinkedIn, all the same. It's all Dee Bowden. But basically, if you want a copy of the book signed by me, I literally sign it and send it to you. www.collectthecash.biz/book.
Awesome. Well, I put that in the chat. So for everyone that is listening, please get her book because Dee Bowden. It's fabulous.
Thank you. So are you.
It has been an absolute pleasure to have you on my show today. I just love talking to you. And every time I hear someone say what had happened was, I think about you.
I know.
You need to market that or, do something, copyright it, something, because that's you.
Yeah. I'm actually adding it to a part of Collect the Cash because it's the thing that, and remember I was saying earlier about, when people hear people talk about money, they're also stiff. And so,
yep.
And when I figured out that what had happened was, and here was the funny part, it wasn't me that said it. It was a financial person because after, the part of the story I forgot to tell you all with the government was after they returned the money, I reached out to my finance person and I said, hey, I got this check, this vendor sent back this money, this, that, and the third. And she said, what's going to happen is, and I said, that's what had happened was. And so, and it stuck. And then I started looking at it in every part of life. Everybody has that. I mean, if you go all the way back to the Bible, you go all the way back to the word.
That's true.
I mean, think about it. Jesus and 12 disciples, they had a whole lot of what had happened was every day.
Every day.
Every day. Listen, because you trying to get all 12 of them to get on the right path to really.
Yeah. That's herding cats.
Yeah, all the things. But I mean, I think what it is that I was looking for a way to relate to the small business owners, and finding what had happened was because everybody can, if they don't remember anything else I said, they may not remember the 3 keys or problem solving, customer service, gratitude, but they will remember if I didn't get paid, what had happened was. Then they'll know, oh yeah, she said do problem solving, customer service, gratitude. So if that's your takeaway. So what had happened was when you don't get paid equals problem solve, customer service, gratitude.
Well, I can tell you, I remember that because that's what I do remember. What had happened was, and that just flows right in so nicely. So thank you so much again for joining me today, Dee Bowden. Again, check her book out at collectthecash.biz/book. You've got to get a copy. So thank you so much for joining me, Dee. It has been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to maybe having you back again. Maybe there's
thank you so much. I look forward to
too. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me in the audience, and we'll see you next Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Bye-bye.